Have you ever felt like you're capable of so much more, but something's holding you back? Well, what if that something isn't an external obstacle at all? What if the heaviest weights we carry are actually our own thoughts? Today, we're going to explore how to lighten that load and unlock the potential that's been waiting inside you all along.
I mean, just think about that for a second. It really gets to the heart of what we're talking about. Imagine your potential, your spirit, is like a giant hot air balloon, just aching to soar, but it's tethered to the ground, weighed down by these heavy sandbags. And those sandbags are your thoughts.
All right, so let's get specific. What exactly are these sandbags of thought? Let's take a closer look at what's really weighing us down. You know, it's not just that little voice of self-doubt in your own head. It's also the heavy opinions of other people that we decide to pick up and carry with us. And all of this weight, it suppresses something absolutely fundamental to who we are, our innate creativity and our freedom.
So when you hear the word creativity, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's probably painting or writing or music, right? But what if I told you it's something much, much bigger than that?
See, this is the key takeaway here. Creativity isn't some luxury for artists. It's a fundamental life skill. It's how you solve a problem at work. It's figuring out a new way home when you're stuck in traffic. It's even just looking in your closet and putting an outfit together that expresses who you are. The truth is, you can't really survive in this world without being creative every single day.
Okay, so we've identified the problem. These sandbags are weighing us down. So how do we start cutting the ropes? Well, the very first step is actually learning to create a little bit of space. Okay, I know this might sound a little out there, but stick with me, because this is the foundation for everything. The big idea is this: you are not your thoughts. You are the one who is aware of your thoughts. And that tiny bit of separation, that's where all your power is.
In this river metaphor, it's the perfect way to understand this. Getting caught up in your mind is like jumping into a raging river. You're just swept away, tangled up in every single thought and worry. But observing your mind, that's like standing calmly on the riverbank. You can watch all those thoughts float by without getting pulled in. And that gives you space. In that space, you find choice.
And if you're wondering why it's so important to get that space, well, get this. The research cited in our source suggests that our untrained mind's initial reactive thoughts are wrong about 80% of the time. Think about that. 4 out of 5 of those nagging worries, those worst-case scenarios that pop into your head, they're just noise. They're not true. That's a huge reason to learn how to stand on the riverbank. So, once we start to quiet that constant chatter of the mind, what do we listen to instead? We can finally start to tune into a much quieter but far more reliable signal, our intuition.
I absolutely love this phrase, the spy within. It's such a cool way to think about it, right? Your intuition is like your own internal secret agent, always on a mission, picking up on these subtle universal truths and guiding you. It's that gut feeling, that deep knowing that's always there, even if it's just a whisper.
But here's the problem, right? A lot of us are actually kind of scared of that quiet. So what do? We fill our lives with noise. We pander to the distractions, endless scrolling, binge watching, staying busy, anything to avoid just sitting with ourselves and listening to what our inner spy has to report. But the good news is, connecting with it isn't some mystical secret. It's a pretty straightforward 3-step process. First, you just have to find some silence, intentionally create that space. Then, you practice listening for those quiet whispers. And here's the hardest part. You have to actually trust that guidance and follow it. So, what happens when you start doing this? When you step back from your thoughts and tune into your intuition? You start to get this higher perspective. And from up there, you can reframe just about anything, from your biggest obstacles to your most ordinary, everyday moments. And to show you just how powerful a tiny shift in perspective can be, let me tell you the story of Boiling the Sea. It's about 2 men who, believe it or not, both just wanted a cup of tea. So the first man, he looks out at the massive ocean and thinks, to get my tea, I have to boil this entire sea. It's an overwhelming, impossible task. So he gets frustrated and just gives up. But the second man, he looks at the same scene and thinks, wait a minute, I don't need to boil the whole ocean, I just need to boil 1 cup of water. He focuses on the smallest possible first step, and guess what? He gets to enjoy a nice hot cup of tea. And that's not just about big tasks, right? That same idea applies to our everyday lives. An experience is only mundane because our mind slaps that label on it. It could just as easily be magical. We're the ones who get to decide.
We can choose to find the magic in the ordinary.
All right, so we've done a lot of internal work here, cutting loose from our thoughts, shifting our perspective. But guess what? This isn't a solo mission. The final, crucial piece of the puzzle is all about connecting with others. You know, we're so used to thinking of ourselves as these separate, individual people. But our source material challenges that idea, calling it the illusion of the single self. It reminds us that we're all part of a larger, interconnected, collective self. And when we really get that and start working together, something incredible can happen.
And that something is called synergy. It's this amazing principle where 1 + 1 doesn't just equal 2. It can equal 10 or 100 or 1,000. It's that exponential power that gets created when different people with different skills all come together in perfect alignment.
Now, this is a really important point. Unity does not mean uniformity. It's not about everyone being the same, not at all. It's about having a unity of purpose, everybody pulling in the same direction, while celebrating a difference in function, where each person contributes what they do best. I mean, just look at the human body. It's the perfect example of synergy.
It really all boils down to that phrase we've all heard, but it's so true. It's the teamwork that truly makes the dream work. When we combine our individual potential, we create something far, far greater than anything we could achieve alone.
So, there you have it. We've talked about identifying those sandbags of thought, becoming the observer of your mind, listening to that spy within, reframing your world, and finally, connecting with others. The sandbags have been cut loose. The only question left is, how high are you going to soar?